Mr. Alagappan, Mr. Malingam, Ms. Meenakshi Ramesh, members of the Board of United Way Chennai, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege and honor to be here this evening to share a few thoughts. I know there is a fireside chat and a lot of questions, so I'll keep my remarks to few observations to set the context. Then I'll be happy to take any questions that I have answers for. Otherwise, I'll give it back to whoever is asking. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me and also for your gracious comments. I think to talk about development and future, it's important to know and put it in perspective where we have come from. And if you look at India 75 years ago and where we are today, a lot has happened. If you go back to 1947, we were a country of 340 million people, less than 1/4 of the size we are today. Only 12% of the population could read and write. Our life expectancy at that time was 32 years. Very, very small economy, more than 50% of which was agriculture. And if you look today, 75 years later, I think there is an enormous difference. Indian GDP was only 3% of the world GDP, now it is 7%. And in terms of a number of other parameters, we are significantly better. The economy itself is 100 times or more larger. And in terms of wealth, they're significantly wealthier, significantly healthier today. In the last 20 years alone, or last 10 years alone, we have lifted more than 300 million people out of poverty. So definitely we have done significantly better in this last 75 years. So we can keep looking and then say we still have a lot to do, but we just have to understand that from where we have come, if somebody had predicted it in 1947, I think it would have been a wild guess. But to complete the story, you should also acknowledge the problems we have. And in spite of all this, if you take any development metrics, we are not where we are. If you take a child mortality or women in workforce, you can take a number of parameters, and every parameter, we are nowhere near where we should be. So we have a lot of challenges. And in a high growth economy, when a country is growing in GDP size so much, you would expect women employment will go up. It has happened in every other economy, but in India, for some inexplicable reason, 30% of women were employed in 2000. Now it has come down to 27. It's absolutely going in the reverse direction. One doesn't know why. So, while on the one hand, we have had enormous progress, we have a lot of challenges. We don't have enough doctors. We have one of the worst doctor-patient ratio. And all our doctors are in the cities. All our patients live in rural areas. So if you look at the doctor-patients ratio, not the average, but the rural area, is just abysmal. Same thing is teacher to students. So we have lots of challenges, and we have a huge digital inequality. And we all say that during the pandemic, we all adapted significantly to digital way of doing things, digital shopping, digital learning, digital consulting, digital healthcare. But what about the kids who didn't have a digital device? A huge number of them have lost a couple of years, completely gone down the drain. So we have a lot of inequality. We have a lot of problems to fix if we have to really achieve our true potential. But with all this, I am extremely bullish about India, super positive about India, totally excited about what we are going to see in this decade. This is going to be a very, very critical decade. This is a decade that matters. There are many reasons. We can talk about the human resources we have, we can have the resilience of Indians, we can have the entrepreneurial spirit, we have so many things. But leave all that. I fundamentally believe the future belongs to technology. Any insurmountable problem we have had, the problems we have been trying to address, we couldn't address, will all get addressed by technology. We will never be able to build hospitals. At this point in time, we are short of 500,000 doctors. We are nowhere near producing the number of doctors that are required. And we will never be able to do. We'll never be able to build the skills, we'll never be able to build the infrastructure. That is true in schools, that is true in hospitals, that's true in judiciary. The number of judges we have compared to the number of cases we have, the courts we have, the gap will never be fulfilled, but for technology. So I think technology is the solution, and technology will solve access to health, will solve access to education, will create jobs, will drive formalization of the economy, will make more jobs secure, will increase the income levels because things will become formal. It will bring transparency in public services delivery. It will make women get back to work. So all these problems, I think, fundamentally is going to be technology. And by technology, I don't mean just IT services, and definitely AI, machine learning will play an important role, but that's not only the AI and machine learning, and there are going to be a huge number of technologies around the base that we have that will come. And we have an opportunity because we have the human resources, we have the skill sets, we have the talent, and the opportune moment is now. I'll explain why. What is also happening parallelly is the world is going through certain trends. And those trends are going to drive every country which is aspirational to do things now. Definitely digital adoption. I think I've said it. While there are a lot of bad effects of the pandemic, one positive point is that pandemic has at least accelerated digital adoption by 10 years. And everyone has to have access to digital device, and we have got to fix that in India. While we talk about more than 1 billion mobile phones, the smartphone is not available with the vast majority of the people. Whether it is a smartphone, whether it is some other form of device, something will happen. So digital is going to be a big kicker. Second, the geopolitics is driving a huge change in the global supply chain. It came about in the pandemic, came about because of the US-China trade war, and it is getting only accentuated with what we are seeing in Russia and Ukraine. So there has to be an India plus. I don't want to say an alternative to China. I want to say there is going to be an India plus. And it's going to happen in every industry. And the push will come. It's going to happen in materials, it's going to happen in chemicals, it's going to happen in electronics, semiconductors, batteries. You name it, it will happen. And this is not only for India's needs, this is for global needs. It will happen in 5G. Everything, there is going to be an alternative play. The third one is, again got accelerated during the pandemic, is sustainability. Shift towards new energy. This will be a change that will get accelerated every single day. If you have a deadline of a particular year, that deadline will be brought forward every single day. So we will be running fast towards the deadline, and the deadline will keep coming towards us. So you'll have to meet somewhere. And that, according to me, contrary to all the commentary about how do you invest, there is no business case, that is actually wrong. I think this is going to be a biggest opportunity for India, because in India we have to build many things. More than replacing things, we've got to build many things. So it is an opportunity for economic growth, opportunity for creating jobs, opportunity to actually solve the inequality and provide access. So it will happen in all sectors. It will happen in auto, it will happen in power, it will happen in steel, it has to happen in every other sector. And some are hard, and I don't want to simplify what is involved. But I do want to say that it is a tremendous opportunity. The fourth, the pandemic has clearly demonstrated, if the healthcare is not addressed for the last person, the richest person is not safe. I hope this will force a broad-based investment in healthcare. Number one priority, it should be for any government anywhere in the world. And anything related to health, whether it is physical health, mental health, has to be a priority for everyone. All of these things are going to drive acceleration in acceleration of our growth in a way that it will solve the problems I said. So India has one fundamental problem. I think, to me, it all comes down to that one equation. We have two problems to solve. One is jobs, another one is access. Most part of the country doesn't have access. And even in cities, people don't have access, whether it's education, whether it's the healthcare. Take the number of colleges we have. I mean, we can go into rural areas, we can go into primary education, you can go to tertiary education, you can go to any level. Similarly, you can go in healthcare. But same thing is true in every other industry. I can make a case for agriculture, can make a case for financial inclusion, I can make a case for judiciary, I can make a case for every vertical that you talk about. On the other hand, we have people. We have enormous people who want jobs. We're trying to solve both problems separately. We have to solve the problem in such a way that both meet. We solve it in such a way that the access is provided, in such a way the jobs are created. And it can be done. It can be done. It can be done by technology. For that, we need to make technology, AI and ML, work for the low state of the society. We have this halo effect about AI and ML, data analyst. It is all about some hi-fi analytics people who do computer science education. But we've got to bring AI and ML and digital devices to work. India has a missing middle everywhere. We have top end, we have bottom end. How many cardiac surgeons we have? Far and few than what we need. And we have the lowest level of people who can do basic work. We don't have people who can do in between. As a result, what happens is the people below cannot go up. So the people above come down. So a guy who can really do specialist work spends 50% of the time doing the work, filling for the middle. Missing middle is our fundamental problem everywhere. That can be fixed with technology by two ways. One is the low-end guys must be empowered with technology so that they come up. And people who don't want to do the low-end job, pardon me saying this, but they study some esoteric course. They feel that it is the job below is low-end and they can't get to the top, but they can be retrained, and with technology they can do the missing middle. We've got to fix that. So it is our approach that needs to change, but we have enormous possibility. I was also asked to talk a little bit about Tata Group, so I'll say a few things, and then I will sit for the question and answer. At least my focus has been three themes. The first one is get our core businesses strong. We have been at it for the last few years, and I won't go elaborate, and we have brought off synergy, and we are scaling where we have to do, and we are continuously looking for simplifying our business. Second one is transform our core for all these trends. Every business, we are doing a digital transformation. By digital transformation, I don't mean, for me there's a difference between leveraging digital and being digital-led. So how do you make every business to be digital-led? In order for leading every business to be digital-led, you've got to start with what data the business wants. Second, we are moving towards sustainability. We're getting into electric vehicles, we'll get into hydrogen, we'll get into renewable energy, we're getting into carbon capture, we're getting into batteries, many things. Third is create businesses for the future. So we're looking at 5G, complete network and 5G network stack. We already have a 4G, which we announced, and 5G will be announcing this year, creating a total end-to-end stack. And we're getting into precision manufacturing, semiconductors, getting into batteries. We're wanting to play in the Indian consumer ecosystem. So we have identified a set of businesses which play to these trends and also builds for India, and then it makes economic sense for the group and modernizes the group. These are the things that we are trying to do. Thank you all for listening. I'll take questions now.